All right, so get this. Today we're diving deep into AI, like really deep.
Deep dive time.
Exactly. And we're tackling a development that could be a total game changer. It's called Differential Transformer.
Or Diff Transformer, if you want to be cool.
Okay, Diff Transformer it is. And I know what you're thinking, more AI jargon,
They
right?
still sound kind of techy, yeah.
But stick with us on this one, because when we start talking about the ways this tech could revolutionize stuff like ChatGPT, well, it gets really interesting.
And that's exactly where I think we should start ChatGPT, because this research is tackling a problem that anyone who spent any time with large language models, LLMs, has probably bumped into firsthand.
Okay, you've got my attention. What's the problem they're trying to solve?
It's all about cutting through the noise.
Like noise-canceling headphones for AI.
That's a great way to put it. It's like, imagine trying to find something specific online, right? Type in a search term, and bam, you're slammed with a million results, most of which are totally useless.
Ugh, tell me about it. It's a needle in a haystack situation.
Exactly. And it turns out LLMs, they face a similar problem.
They get overwhelmed.
Exactly. They can get totally bogged down by all the data they're processing. It's like they're trying to drink from a fire hose.
Makes sense.
And the researchers, they're calling this extra distracting stuff attention noise.
Attention noise. Okay, I kind of like that.
And this attention noise, it's a big reason why LLMs sometimes miss the mark. They give inaccurate info or even hallucinate facts, like completely make stuff up.
Wait, hold up. Hallucinate. Like, they just start making things up.
Yeah, basically.
And that's a problem because...
No, I mean, think about it. Do you want an AI assistant that can't tell fact from fiction? It's not exactly a recipe for reliable information, is it?
Not really what you're looking for in an AI.
Right. So that's where Diff Transformer comes in to save the day. Well, potentially at least.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does Diff Transformer deal with all this noise? What's the secret sauce?
So instead of looking at all the information at once, like a regular transformer model might, Diff Transformer, it compares two sets of attention maps.
Okay, hold on. Back up a second. Attention maps. I'm going to need you to break that down for me.
Attention maps. Think of it like this. An attention map is how the LLM visualizes the data. It shows which parts of the data are the most important for the task at hand.
So it's highlighting the important stuff.
Basically, like when you're skimming through a document and you highlight the key sentences.
Okay, I think I'm getting it.
Good. So Diff Transformer takes two sets of these highlights, these attention maps, and compares them to figure out what's really important.
So it's like it's got two sets of eyes, and it's trying to find the common ground, the stuff that both sets of eyes agree is important.
That's a great way to put it. And it uses this thing called a lambda value to balance how much weight each part of the input gets. It's like fine-tuning the focus,
This is starting to sound seriously clever, but does it actually work? Does it outperform the regular transformer models we always hear about?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the research actually suggests that, yes, it really does work. They tested it out, scaling it up, trying different model sizes, massive data sets, the whole shebang.
Right.
It consistently performed as well as, or even better than, regular transformer models.
No way. So on par or even better. That's super promising. But we're talking about AI here, so efficiency has got to be a factor. Is it a resource hog?
And here's where things get extra exciting. They actually found that Diff Transformer, it could achieve these awesome results with significantly fewer parameters.
Fewer parameters, meaning?
Meaning it's more efficient. We're talking about roughly 65% less than a comparable transformer model. Can you believe that?
65%. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking smaller, potentially more accurate and more efficient, but let's get down to brass tacks. What can this thing actually do?
That's where it gets really interesting. They found that Diff Transformer has some serious potential in several key areas, starting with long context comprehension.
Long context comprehension. You're talking about understanding information even within those massive data sets we talked about, like seriously long documents.
Exactly. Remember those research papers that are super long and complicated, the ones you wish you had an AI to summarize for you? Well, Diff Transformer can handle sequences up to 64,000 tokens long, which is basically like summarizing a short novel.
Okay, now we're talking. That's a game changer right there. What else you got?
Well, remember those hallucinations we talked about where the LLM just starts making things up?
Yeah, not exactly a desirable feature.
Right. Well, it turns out that Diff Transformer, because it's so good at focusing on the right information, it's significantly less likely to hallucinate, which is huge.
Huge is an understatement. So less prone to making stuff up, better with long chunks of information. What else did the researchers find? They tested it on tasks like summarizing factual text, answering questions from given data, that kind of thing, and boom, fewer hallucinations than regular transformers.
Significantly fewer. It was impressive.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is diff transformer might actually be the key to getting AI that's, reliable.
It's definitely a big step in the right direction.
Okay, so less prone to making things up, better with long chunks of information. What else did the researchers find?
They actually discovered that diff transformer is much better at in-context learning.
Okay, break that down for me. What exactly is in-context learning?
So in-context learning, it's basically the ability to learn from examples, right? Like think about how you might teach someone a new skill. You often show them how to do it. You give them examples.
Right.
Well, LLMs, they're already pretty good at this whole learning for examples thing. But diff transformer, it takes it to a whole new level.
Really?
Oh yeah, it consistently outperformed regular transformer models in-context learning tasks, and we're talking across a variety of different data sets.
So it's like a quicker study, it can adapt to new info and formats more effectively.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, and it's super important because in the real world, we're not dealing with just one type of data. We've got all sorts of formats, different structures. It's messy.
And we need our AI to be able to handle that.
Exactly. We need AI that can keep up, that can adapt.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious about the practical side of things. Can Diff Transformer run on regular computers, or are we talking supercomputer territory here?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and the research actually suggests that diff transformer might actually have some advantages when it comes to hardware.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more.
So they discovered that it can be quantized to lower bit widths without sacrificing a lot of accuracy.
Quantized. Bit widths. You're going to have to explain those.
Right, sorry. Quantization, it's like compressing a file on your computer. You're making the data smaller without losing the important stuff. And bit widths, they refer to how much information is stored in each piece of data used by the model. Lower bit widths mean less storage space, less processing power needed.
So it's like a more efficient way of storing and processing information.
Exactly. And the research, it indicates that diff transformer, it can be compressed more effectively than regular transformers. And here's the kicker, without hurting performance.
So potentially, we could see this tech running on devices that wouldn't be able to handle regular transformer models.
That's the idea. We could be talking about putting some serious AI power into devices like smartphones, laptops, maybe even your smart toaster.
Okay, now you're just messing with me about the toaster, Rick.
And maybe not. Seriously, the potential here is huge. We're talking about making AI more accessible, bringing it to the everyday user.
No more relying on big tech companies and their expensive data centers.
Exactly. This could be a real game changer.
This is all starting to sound incredibly promising. It seems like Diff Transformer could be the start of a whole new generation of AI. Smarter, less error-prone, more accessible. Are there any other benefits we haven't covered yet? I feel like there's more to this story.
You're right, there is. One more benefit I think is super important. Diff Transformer seems to be way more robust than regular transformer models.
Robust, you mean? Like tougher, less likely to break?
That's a good way to put it. They found that Diff Transformer is much less sensitive to small changes in the input data.
So you're saying a misplaced comma, a slightly different wording, it wouldn't be thrown off by those things? Because we've all been there with AI, sometimes it feels like you have to phrase things perfectly.
I know exactly what you mean.
Otherwise, it's like they just go off on a tangent.
Exactly. But Diff Transformer, it seems to be much better at handling those variations in wording. It's less distracted by the order of the information. It focuses on the meaning, the core of what you're trying to say.
Which is what we want. We want AI that understands us, even when we're not speaking perfectly.
Exactly. And this robustness, it could make AI models much more reliable, less prone to errors in real-world applications where you can't always control for perfect grammar or phrasing.
That's a huge relief. Okay, so to recap, we've got an AI model that's potentially more accurate, more efficient, better at understanding long documents, less prone to hallucinations, a quicker learner, and more robust. Am I missing anything?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like the holy grail of AI advancements.
You pretty much covered it all. It's pretty impressive stuff.
It is, but it's still early days, right? I mean,
Yeah.
This is all very exciting, but are we going to see Diff Transformer in action anytime soon, or is this something that's still years away?
It's definitely early stages. This research is laying the groundwork for what's to come.
Right.
But the initial results, they're so promising that I think it's safe to say we'll start seeing Diff Transformer integrated into AI applications pretty soon.
No kidding.
Developers are already experimenting with it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some early applications within the next year or two, maybe even sooner.
Wow, that's exciting. I can't wait to see what people do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine AI assistants that are actually helpful, less likely to make mistakes, and maybe even run on our phones.
Yeah.
It's like the future of AI is right around the corner.
It really is. And the crazy thing is, these changes, they might happen so smoothly that we don't even realize how much things have changed.
It'll just feel like AI suddenly got a whole lot smarter.
Exactly. One day, our AI assistants are struggling to understand a simple question, and the next day, they're writing poetry and composing symphonies.
Okay, maybe not that dramatic,
You're right, probably not symphonies.
but you get the idea.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how quickly these advancements become part of our everyday lives.
Okay, I'm officially on the edge of my seat. This has been an incredible deep dive so far. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Good idea. It's important to remember that even with all these incredible advancements, AI models, they're still just tools.
Powerful tools, but tools nonetheless.
Exactly. And like with any tool, it's how we use them that really matters.
So true. We need to approach AI development with a balance of excitement, but also with caution, with responsibility.
Absolutely. We need to make sure we're using these tools ethically, that we're thinking about the consequences, the potential downsides, as well as all the amazing benefits.
Well said. So for our listeners who are eager to understand this next wave of AI, what are some key takeaways they should remember about Diff Transformer?
The key thing is, it's all about reducing that attention noise, allowing those LLMs to focus on what's truly important. That leads to all these improvements. Accuracy, efficiency, long context comprehension, in-context learning, robustness, and of course, the potential to make AI accessible to everyone, not just those with the most powerful computers.
So potentially a game changer on multiple levels.
Exactly.
This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to talk AI.
And for our listeners, stay tuned for the final part of this deep dive, where we'll be exploring some of the potential implications of Diff Transformer and what it could mean for the future of AI. You won't want to miss it. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, the what and the how of Diff Transformer.
We really got into the nitty-gritty.
We did, and it's clear this model, it's more accurate, more efficient, just all around better at understanding and processing information.
Light years ahead.
Okay, maybe not light years, but definitely a big leap forward. But now I want to get into the so what. What does this all actually mean for us out there in the real world?
That's the big question, isn't it? And I think it's important to remember we're still in the early stages here. This tech is just getting started.
Right, it's still early days.
But even so, the potential impact, it's pretty mind-blowing when you really start to think about the possibilities.
Okay, so let's think about it. Paint me a picture. What does the future look like with Diff Transformer running the show?
Well, imagine this. You're having a conversation with your AI assistant, but it's not like those clunky interactions we're used to. It's a real conversation.
What, real conversation?
Yeah, I'm talking about complex, nuanced back and forth,
Yeah.
where the AI gets you, it understands not just your words, but the whole context, the intent behind what you're saying.
So no more of that frustrating back and forth trying to get the AI to understand what you're asking.
Exactly. Because with Diff Transformer's long context comprehension, those AI assistants, they could remember entire conversations, not just a few lines back and forth. They'd be able to really follow along.
That would be huge for customer service, education, heck, even therapy. The possibilities are kind of endless.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Because Diff Transformer is less prone to hallucinations, we could start to see a whole new level of trust in AI-generated content.
Trustworthy AI. Now, that's something I can get behind.
Think about it. Reading news articles, research reports, even novels, knowing that the information is accurate, reliable.
That would be amazing. I mean, these days it feels like we're drowning in information. It's hard to know what to trust.
I hear you. Information overload is real.
It really is. But with Diff Transformer, we could be on the edge of something big, a new era of AI-powered information where accuracy is the norm, not the exception.
Exactly. Reliable information at our fingertips.
That's a future I want to live in. But what about the accessibility part? We talked about how Diff Transformer could potentially run on less powerful devices. What kind of impact could that have?
That's where things get really interesting, because imagine a world where AI isn't just for big tech companies with their massive data centers, it's for everyone.
Democratizing AI. I like the sound of that.
Right. With Diff Transformer, we could see serious AI power built into everyday devices, your phone, your laptop, maybe even your toaster.
Okay, the toaster thing again, I think you're messing with me at this point.
Maybe just a little.
Huh?
But seriously, giving everyone access to AI, that's a game changer. It could empower individuals, communities that have been left behind in the tech world.
It could help bridge the digital divide instead of widening it. That's a powerful idea.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing to remember is this. Diff Transformer. It's not just some small step forward, it's a potential paradigm shift. It could reshape the world in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
And it's up to all of us to make sure we're using it for good.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's an exciting time to be alive, and I'm optimistic about the future, especially with advancements like Diff Transformer on the horizon.
Me too. The future of AI is looking bright.
This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you again for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. Thanks for having me.
And for our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Diff Transformer. We hope you learned a thing or two, and that you're as excited about the future of AI as we are. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.